All right, so nothing is dedicated here for like a main relay output. We've got the idle stepper motors, the check engine light, boost control solenoid, tach, and the lambda, but nothing else is set up for main relay at all. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it to see how we can get that all wired up. And so the reason why we need the main relay is that the 12 volt ignition here that powers the main relay, or that powers the ignition coils, is ran off the main relay, and this says 12 volt from power switch or relay. So obviously the ECU is not going to be able to drive that on its own. So it's been a really long time since I've worked on a 2J car with the factory coils and the igniter, and I couldn't remember how the wiring worked out. So looking at the diagram, it shows that the igniter has 12 volt power from key on. Now ignore the negative, it's just because my leads are flip-flopped, but you can see that the igniter has a couple pins here that have 12 volt power, and so each one is supplied into the coil itself via the orange wires here according to this. So I was over here flipping my wig because I couldn't remember how to supply 12 volt power to the coils. So problem solved there. Alrighty, so same deal here. I've got the key on, and you can see that the meter is giving us basically 12 volts on the injector wiring. So that just tells me that the tweaked harness is still basically ran how the stock harnesses ran. So there's, believe it or not, the 12 volt power is actually just coming from straight key on and not a relay, strangely enough. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna keep wiring all of our injector outputs and our coil outputs, now that we know that 12 volt power is already supplied. So there's no, as of right now, we're not too concerned about the main relay wiring. All right, so this is the ignition coil wiring. You'll see that there's these two right here. Those are for cylinders 7 and 8. Remember, this is a Maxx ECU race, so it is designed for up to an 8 cylinder, and this is 1 through 6 here respectively. So we'll go ahead and we'll tape these back up temporarily, and we'll start wiring them up. Same deal here. This is the 6 wires for the injectors, and we've got 2 floating down there that aren't being used, so I just went ahead and set those down to the side. So now we've got the injectors and the coil wires done, and we'll go ahead and take our time and we'll start wrapping it up into the adapter there. And once we get it there, before we actually plug everything back in, I've got to make some changes in the software for the igniter side of it, because the Maxx ECU will run dumb coils, but obviously we have a quote-unquote smart coil because we have the igniter. So I've got to make some changes onto the ECU via the laptop first, and then the reason if we don't do that, we can actually burn up some coils, which we're definitely not trying to do there. So I was sorting through wires and stripping ends and whatnot, and then I realized that I didn't label the injector wires, and I actually remember why now. It's actually because I ran out of heat shrink labels and I never got back around to it. So before I make any more progress, I'm gonna go ahead and go through the the instruction manual for the AEM Infinity to find out the injector wiring before moving forward. And the reason is I don't want to tap stuff into here and then have to try to navigate through it with a ton of wires connected to it. So I mean, I'm pretty sure the injector wiring won't be hard to find out because a lot of it is actually already labeled. So I'm gonna go sit down and figure all this out really quick. So yesterday on the Supra, we kind of came to a stop. I had to sit down and figure out the power wiring for the injectors and the coils, which I learned through looking through the service manual is that it's actually sent power via key on. We didn't have the injectors labeled, so I went ahead and, as you can see, made labels here. I believe like there's the idle valve that's not quite labeled, but that should be relatively easy to figure out, and we can do that along the way. So the goal is just to get our basic stuff wired up, which is going to be the injectors, the coils, and then work on the connectors themselves for the cam and crank sensor. As you guys know, the Maxx ECU has its own wiring for all that. So, and all that's basically snaked on where it needs to go. So we're going to go ahead and wire up the basic stuff. That way we can actually try to get the car fired up. Okay, so using AEM's diagram here that they have, I was able to get all the injectors and the coils all labeled out, and some of the stepper motors also are already labeled out. So at this point, I think I'm confident enough to go ahead and get started on actually wiring this stuff up. So primarily we're going to be dealing with this gray bundle here. This gray bundle is the injectors, and then the coils we're going to hold off on. So I'm going to wire up the injectors first, and the reason why we're holding off on coils is because I have to make a change in the software. If you have it set up incorrectly, you can smoke some coils. So we're going to go ahead and wire up these coils. We're going to plug the ECU back in, so we'll make changes to our coil setup, and then we'll also test the injectors at the same time. I may go ahead and wire up our required sensors, which is like TPS, 5-volt, sensor ground, and all that. I may go ahead and wire that up as well so I can test it. So I've got the injector output set up here, and I've already tested it off screen, but I can show you that it is a bit different on how it's done here. So you can select single injectors, or you can have it fire in firing order or output order, which is really interesting. So I'm going to put it in output order, and what this is going to do, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you guys may or may not hear the difference in it. So I'll set it down. And so you may not hear it, but you can hear it hitting the injectors and then moving to the next one all the way down, and then it just cycles all the way through. So it's a really interesting way of doing it. I've never seen anything like that before, and you can also do it by firing order, which is really interesting. So, you know, it'll jump through the firing order and do the exact same thing. So, or you can, just like I did, you can test it individually. So it's really cool, awkward function. I've never thought about doing it that way, but it is really nice. Okay, so here's our next group of wires. These are your sensor inputs and sensor ground and 5-volt. So there's 2 sets of sensor grounds, 2 sets of 5 volts, and then coolant temp, intake air temp, and TPS, I believe. And that, like I said, that's going to be our next group that we're going to attach. And once we get these attached, we should be able to test the functionalities. The coils are already done, so all we got to do is plug up the igniter, and that should work after I made my changes in the software. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all sorted and wired up. So on these cars, they have a fuel pump ECU that's here, and as you can see, it's been unplugged. Someone's taken it and gotten rid of it, and they put vampire taps into this for some reason. So the thing about these cars is that they and this is all like 90s cars in general, they have like a fuel pump ECU, but I wouldn't really call it an ECU. It's more like a voltage switching relay. So the way it works is that, like, if you're cruising, idle, stuff like that, the fuel pumps run at 9 volts, and then when you go to get on it, and there's, you know, some other cars have like other steps that it has to fulfill before it gets there, but essentially once you go wide open throttle, it goes from 9 volts to 12 volts or whatever the alternator is running at that current time. And so obviously with aftermarket fuel pumps, they're not designed to run on switching voltages, so you just kind of wire it to bypass it altogether. I'm going to take a look at this wiring, these wiring colors, to see why they tapped it like so. And like I said, the way the Maxx is hooked up currently has the fuel pump controller, quote unquote, installed, and that's why it's also not kicking over the fuel pump here. So this is more a note to myself than you guys, because I really do not want to forget this, but the black wire goes into the black port and the not black one goes into the red port on the sub box. So I looked up the VIN on this car, and it started life as a 93 non-turbo car. I'm not sure why it has the 8-wire fuel pump ECU, unless it's just like a thing for 93, but I'm pretty sure that the non-turbos have 5 wires. But again, I could be wrong. So what I'm going to do is just take a look at the wiring diagram and try to find out these colors to see why they tapped them together. So I was right. So non-turbo cars, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that, but non-turbo cars on the fuel pump ECU, there's only 5 wires. So we're going to take a look at try to find the diagram for the turbo model and see if we can figure it out. Okay, so here is the turbo model, and as you can see, there's 8 pins to it. So I'm going to take a look. I'm going to grab a light and I'll take a look at what these wires are tapped together for, and then I guess we'll go from there. Okay, so we got this all apart here, and looks like we just got a large feed line, but I don't see, even in here, I don't see any additional relay wiring. So it's safe to assume that there's only one fuel pump in here, maybe, because there's sometimes people will wire the fuel pumps together, and that's fine too, to have one feed, but generally speaking, that feed line has to be pretty large. But again, I'm not seeing any of that, so we're gonna, since we don't see anything there, I'm just gonna leave this. So we got the fuel pump exposed here, and we came across a pretty large problem here. So all the little lock ring, little taps there are completely broken, and the scary thing is that they're broken all the way around. So I don't know how I'm going to be able to remove this. I'm just going to kind of give this a shot and tap lightly, but all these little things are broken off in it. They do make a tool though that actually grabs onto this, so you're not breaking these off, and we'll just give it a shot. So I was able to get the fuel pump ring off, but it is completely beat to hell, as you can see. So we got one on order from Toyota. Surprisingly, you can still get these. The customer also noted that there was an issue with the fuel level, and I tested it out here, and it does work. So he was just saying that it was like slow to respond, but that could have been actually from the cluster side, because this is working. Now what I did find that I don't like is they use these terminals here. And this terminal here, they didn't even bother heat shrink. And here's the scary part about it is that, and the crimp's not even that good. So these guys were not heated up in any way to help secure it. And like I said, the crimp itself looks decent though. They used the wrong crimper, but they used a non-insulate crimp here, and they joined it to factory wiring here, and there's no fuel pump relay to be found at all. So I think that's why they just bypassed it here. I feel like the vampire taps just tap it to key on is what I think. but I don't know because the fuel pump wasn't turning on with key on. So we're gonna fix this here first, and then we will go from there.